lads, I've just kind of brought in probably the best card I've potentially ever owned into the gallery. And yeah, we're going to chat about it, go through what I think it kind of does for me for this upcoming season. And yeah, I genuinely still am a little bit shocked that I have one. And it's this Rodrigo Super Rare. I've got a Rodrigo Real Madrid Super Rare card, which, yeah, I mean, if you asked me three and a half years ago when I first started this game, I would own a Rodrigo Super Rare at one point. Now, at the time, granted, he probably wasn't Rodrigo at that time, He's really sort of grown into his own the last couple of years. But yeah, if you would have told me a year and a half ago that I'd have a Rodrigo Super Rare, I would never have believed you. Simple as. And I know prices have come down and Super Rares and in seasons, and things have become more affordable for sure. Don't get me wrong. I've managed to get a deal done with Pug Trader. Shout out to him, because yeah, without him I wouldn't have been able to get this card in. And yeah, I'll kind of show you what I got him for. So I did it 2 hours ago now, and this is what I got rid of. So this Dalinga, it's been great for me, for sure. He's still under 23. He has moved to Bologna now from Toulouse. He did well for me last season. He was a good Super Rare forward for me in under 23. For me to take that competition serious last season, I needed a half decent forward, and he definitely provided that. He's just a basic number 9 realistically, as far as SO5 scores go. Like, he's never going to score you 100. To get into the massive prizes and whatever. And yeah, he definitely served a purpose for me. But yeah, moved to Bologna. I'm not saying he won't do very well, but I'm not that big of a fan of the Italian league for SO5, to be honest. Never really have been, never really owned many cards from Italy. And so, yeah, him moving there just not rubbed me up the wrong way, but I just wasn't really that excited about playing him, to be honest. I think Bologna will struggle compared to last season as well. Obviously, losing Motta, losing Calafiori, they've lost some big players. So, yeah, I'm not saying he won't score goals, because I think he will. They've obviously lost Xerxes. He is the replacement to Xerxes. And yeah, it was one of them where I thought, I mean, he's a champ card, so I can only play him in under 23. And if I have a chance to bring in a Rodrigo, obviously I've let go of other things as well. Sometimes you have to take that opportunity. This Darko fella, I won him yesterday, actually. If you watch my 4th place in 270 video, he was the reward from that. He plays in Contender. I don't play Contender, so quite an easy sell or trade for him. Xander Silva, I brought him in like 2 weeks ago, to be fair. He's a stopgap in 240. I paid not much for him, considering he's a super rare, but most super rares are cheap these days. So yeah, I won't really be missing him, although he is a challenger forward, and I do need challenger forwards realistically, but he's not somebody that I don't think I'm going to miss his scores. Mateus Tell's an interesting one. I won this card, when did I win it? 4 months ago now. I've never used it in SO5 because you just don't know when he's going to play. I know Company has apparently said that he does really like him. I don't really foresee him being like a guaranteed starter next season for Bayern, with Elise coming in and the talent they have there. I just don't see it. He'll definitely play minutes, but I just he wouldn't have been like my main under 23 or one of my top 3 main under 23 rare forward. So I was kind of happy to let him go in that sense to allow me to bring in the Rodrigo, and then of course the cash him out as well. I wouldn't have been able to do this if I weren't able to get rid of the cards. As far as doing the trade, I wouldn't have been able to do like a straight cash deal. So this really did alleviate a bit of pressure in that sense. But for Dalinga, Darko, Silva, and Tell, and obviously the cash, I've brought in what could be, I think, my best card. Like, I'm not saying it's the most, well, maybe it is the most expensive card. I don't even know. I think next season could be, Rodrigo next season could be absolutely anything as far as SO5 scores go. I now have a forward that is capable of hitting peaks at super rare level, that is. I know this is going back a little bit further than maybe we should, but like, if I can get a Rodrigo that's doing things like that, then I'm in the conversation of being at the the top of the under 23 leaderboards if the other things fall into place as well. Now, of course, Mbappe's come in and there's competition. I'm not saying Rodrigo's going to be starting every single game for Real Madrid and it's all looking dandy and he's the first name on the team sheet, because he's not. He's probably not. There's a lot of competition at Real Madrid. I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying I've got a guaranteed forward that's just nailed every week, because you just don't know, right? This game of football is very fickle, and who knows? Tomorrow he could go to Man City and this video is just completely null and void, right? That'd probably be my luck. I know City are actually sniffing around him, to be fair, because they've sold Alvarez, but I don't know. I don't think Rodrigo leaves Real Madrid this season, but regardless, right? Of course I want him to stay. But like kind of the biggest reason why I've really rushed in to get him, because Pug Trader only got this card 4 hours ago himself. So he only had it in the gallery for like 2 hours. So I had to be quite quick because I thought somebody else might nab it. Of course, Toni Kroos was taking corners and stuff, last season. This was the tweet I saw. So Real Madrid coaching staff are working with Rodrigo on set pieces. Carlo Ancelotti and his staff have decided that he will take over from Toni Kroos, which is massive, right? Like, we all know Kroos was an absolute legend for Sorare and SO5 and all that stuff. But a lot of his points come from taking corners, free kicks, etc. Now, if Rodrigo takes over those for Real Madrid, the sky's the limit for him. Like, well, the limit's 100, obviously, right? Because you can't outscore 100. But, if he's taking set pieces, if he's taking corners and free kicks at Real Madrid, even just corners, for a forward card, that's massive. Never mind getting decisives, never mind getting goals, assists. And of course, I'm looking at this always glass half full. Arda Güler, there's loads of players now that do come into the reckoning for Real Madrid. Like, they do have depth. Brahim Diaz is still raring to go in pre-season. Ancelotti does seem to really like Rodrigo, and I think, he will play more games than not. And, with having Real Madrid cards, you usually can tell, the rotations and stuff quite easy, I would say, compared to maybe the J-League, right? Yeah, I've kind of bought this Rodrigo off the basis of, well, if Ancelotti wants to make him his main set-piece taker, he's going to have to be on the field more often than not. Now, they obviously have, Arda Güler can take a corner, don't get me wrong. There's Modric as well. There's some amazing players there that can do those things. I'm not saying there's not. But if this information is true, and Rodrigo does become, the Kroos on set pieces, like I said, the sky's the limit for him as far as scores go. Now, of course, he's a champion player, playing at Real Madrid. Of course, he's under 23 as well. I don't play champion super rare. So, Rodrigo is always going to be, if he's in to start, on paper, a lock for me in under 23 rare. Now, you might argue, yeah, that's not optimal to play a champion, like a really good champion forward, in under 23. But my argument is, well, I don't play champion as it is, so it doesn't really matter to me. Like, I don't have a plan B, if that makes sense. Like, I can't play him in champ because I don't have a champ super rare setup, So, he's not going to, provide that much of a headache for me. Whereas, some of the challenger guys that I have, so challenger and under 23 are the two places I play super rare next season. Somebody like, let's say Sam Greenwood or Adson, for example, or Sonjay Hansen, whoever. Any cards that are challenger and under 23 for me, they provide a bit of a headache because I could play them in challenger or I could play them in under 23. Whereas players like Rodrigo, players like Brennan Johnson, they're kind of just locked into under 23 for me, which sometimes the less contemplations you have within your lineups, the better. Obviously, we all want quality, we all want depth, we all want different choices to make to get the best matchup that week. Sometimes it just gives you peace of mind when you just don't really need to worry about, oh, do I play that guy or this guy? Sometimes it's just nice to be like, I'm going to play Rodrigo, regardless. It doesn't matter what happens. There's no alternative. So, yeah, Rodrigo gives me that luxury. Now, Dalinga would have done the same because he is champ as well. But I'm looking at my lineup builder and, comparing Rodrigo to Dalinga, it's night and day. Like, to have a Real Madrid under 23 forward that going off this information is taking corners next season. I mean, it is as elite as it gets for me. I wouldn't have been able to afford a Yamal Super Rare or whoever, right? I've had to do this on a budget. And like I said, I don't think Rodrigo starts every game. I do think there will be rotations and it might be quite tricky sometimes. But knowing that I have the option now to load up a Rodrigo Super Rare in under 23 is massive for me. It really elevates my best team by a mile. This is for game week 502 when La Liga starts back up. I mean, I don't know exactly what I would go in with, but it'd be something like this. It just gives me an elite forward option that I don't have. I don't have elite forwards. I have some decent ones, like Adson is able to score 100 on a given game week. Of course, plays in Brazil. Baliquich is now injured, so that was part of the reason why bringing Rodrigo in is massive. Brennan Johnson, obviously I rate him, and I'm going to be biased. I'm Welsh. I think he's good, but he's definitely not Rodrigo. Sonjay Hansen might be moving. Yunus Akun might be moving as well. Ivankovic, to be fair, I've just brought him in as well, and he plays for Rijeka, and he does actually link up really nicely with Niko Jankovic. They, of course, both play for Rijeka together, and he was really cheap because he is a contender forward, and again, with him, he's a similar situation to Rodrigo and Brennan to me on the opposite ends of the spectrum where, Ivankovic is in contender, but I don't play contender super rare, so he's always going to be a lock somewhere in under 23 for me, as is Rodrigo, so it kind of leaves me all my other super rare forwards that are from Challenger, I can kind of play them in Challenger and not in under 23. if I need to. So, bringing in this Rodrigo on paper is the biggest move I've ever made, not from like a financial standpoint, but from a SO5 potential standpoint. Again, we don't know, there's lots of unknowns. The season hasn't started, right? But I'm just kind of trying to lay out everything that I've seen so far to come to the conclusion of, this could be my best card. It could definitely be my best card at super rare level, at least. I have a Rodrigo rare as well that I was going to get rid of maybe in the deal to bring the cash price down a little bit, but I opted not to. And something fun that, I'm not going to do it all the time because I won't have the depth to do it, but I have managed over the last couple of weeks and months, collecting the under 23 cards in. I can actually build the same lineup in under 23 super rare as I can in rare. And it's very risky to do something like this because all your eggs are in one basket, right? The beauty of multi-entry now is that I could do this and still have another 4 lineups, 2 in rare, 2 in super rare, if I had the goalies that weekend to kind of do it, because obviously under 23 is multi-entry going forward from game week 502. This is game week 504, just looking ahead. And on paper I could play these 2 lineups, and in theory, if they all scored 100, I know this is hypothetical, but I could win both divisions, right? You could literally double up on the rewards. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying I'm going to play these 2 lineups there, but I do have now quite a few options where if I think one of my players that I own a super rare and a rare of are in an amazing position, maybe like, Real Madrid at home to Valladolid, that's probably as amazing as it's going to get, right? The idea is, well, if I have 2 Rodrigos, I'm probably going to captain both of them across 2 different scarcities, because the chances are he's probably going to score quite well in that game if everything falls into place and he starts. And same as maybe, I don't know, Hugo Sequei away to Dender. Mind you, Dender have actually been quite good this season, and Club Brugge have not been. So, there's a few situations that, I'd have to double check. But so if you're new and you're watching this and you're thinking like, what else is the benefit of doing this? For example, you just need less outcomes to happen for you. So for example, if I had, instead of Rodrigo here as captain, I had Vinicius Jr. in there. I'll change it out just so it visually makes sense. So let's say we have this now. So we have the exact same lineup, but we have Vinny in one and we have Rodrigo in the other. Well, let's say, heavens forbid, Vinny doesn't play in this Valladolid game and he's injured or he's ill. Well, then this under 23 rare lineup's obviously dead. And then Rodrigo goes in and scores 100, of course. Yeah, the under 23 super rare lineup probably does well, but the under 23 rare lineup is dead, right? Because, well, basically dead because Vinny didn't play. Well, if you double up on the Rodrigo, you just need less things to happen, right? I just need one player to start. I don't need Vinny and Rodrigo. You just need less things to happen, right? In the most simplistic terms. Of course, if Rodrigo doesn't play well, then it's, the double down doesn't pay off because both of your Rodrigos, haven't done well. So, it's just a case of, do you want to spread the risk or do you want to go all in? Having the Rodrigo now just really gives me a forward option at super rare level that can score 100. And the really interesting point about that is as well, from game week 502 onwards, which is when you can play multi-entry in under 23, captain bonus is moving to 50% like it is in every other game mode right now, or every other competition. So far, or right now, if you're playing under 23, like this weekend or whatever, the captain bonus is only 20%. So right now you've got, that's Rodrigo's bonus on his card, 25.5%. If I captain him, it goes to 45%. Well, that's only a 20% boost, right? When under 23 comes around, the multi-entry in 502, this will change to 75.5%. So, if Rodrigo does score 100, that's 175 points on any card that you have, right? It's the same for any card, but instead of it being a 20% bonus, it's going to be a 50% bonus. So having a card that can score 100 in your lineup is going to be more powerful than ever before in under 23. In every other competition, it's been a 50% captain bonus, but in under 23 from game week 502, that's the first time ever that, your captain will get you a 50% bonus, not 20. So having that 100 capable card, doesn't have to be a forward, of course, but, knowing that Rodrigo is 100 capable, knowing that whoever else, Sequei's 100 capable, Jankovic is 100 capable, it just, of course, elevates the ceiling of your lineup. And I just can't really believe that I have a card like Rodrigo Super in the gallery now. And yeah, I really do hope everything falls into place for him and me from a biased perspective for the start of the season, which obviously kicks off in the next few weeks. But yeah, let me know what you think of the trade. Let me know what you think of Rodrigo for next season. Always interested to hear your thoughts, lads. But yeah, hope you have enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and I shall see you guys in the next one.